On my left, Senator Hume.
Thank you, Mr President. My question is to the Minister for Communications, Senator Fifield. Can the minister advise the Senate of how the government is reforming? Can the minister advise the Senate of how the government is reforming Australia's media laws to bring them into the digital age?
The Minister for Communications, Senator Fifield.
Thanks, Mr President. Can I acknowledge that this is Senator Hume's first question in this place, and also congratulate her on a magnificent first speech last night. Mr President, colleagues, I think we're all aware that technology, the avenues that provides for people to consume media and the choices that consumers themselves make are rendering our existing media laws progressively redundant. They simply don't reflect the world that we currently live in. At present, we have 5 media laws with quaint names like the 5-4 rule, the 2-to-a-market rule, the 1-to-a-market rule, the 75% reach rule and the 2 out of 3 rule. And what the government is proposing is to abolish the 75% audience reach rule and the 2 out of 3 rule, and to leave the other media rules in place. Now, if the parliament chose to do that, it would represent the most significant media reform in a generation. And the purpose of reforming our media laws is to enable Australia's media organisations to configure themselves in the ways that best suit their business and best support their viability. It will give media organisations, if they choose, the opportunity to build scale through changing their configurations. Now, I think it's important for colleagues to know that changes to media laws won't see any changes to the existing requirements and scrutiny of the ACCC or any changes to Foreign Investment Review Board requirements, should those apply in any proposition. In fact, the government has asked the ACCC to update its public guidance on their approach to media mergers to provide transparent information on how these would be treated in a new regime.
The question has expired. Senator Hume, a supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr President. Can the minister outline to the Senate what the government is doing to ensure regional communities receive stronger local content protections?
Minister.
Thanks, Mr President. I think all of us recognise the importance of local content in local media. It's important for those communities. So as part of the government's proposed package, we will be strengthening local television content requirements to ensure local content continues to be provided in regional Australia. So what we're proposing is, following a change in control that results in an entity controlling licences that reach more than 75% of the population, that higher local content requirements would be in place. Now, what this would do is to increase the minimum local content points required from the current 720 over a 6-week period to 900 points over a 6-week period. But also importantly, in regional markets where there's currently no local content requirements, we would introduce for the first time local content requirements of 360 points over a 6-week period. Good news for the region.
Thank you, Minister. The time for answering the question has expired. Senator Hume, a final supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr President. Is the minister aware of commentary about repealing the 2 out of 3 rule and how this would affect media diversity? What is the government's response?
Minister.
Thanks, Mr President. I'm aware of some commentary, and the parliament will have the opportunity to examine that proposed rule change. The fact is, Australians do have access to an incredibly diverse array of media sources. The online sources are in abundance, and in fact, the existence of the 2 out of 3 rule, not only does it no longer protect diversity, but I would contend that it prevents media companies from building scale, and that in itself is a threat to ongoing media diversity. Can I quote Paul Anderson, the CEO of Network 10, who says, "We are yet to hear any rational argument in favour of keeping the 2 out of 3 rule, which only applies to the 3 offline media platforms and doesn't even recognise the existence of the internet. It is illogical and antiquated and threatens local diversity by constraining Australian media companies in our efforts to grow and compete. Well said, Mr Anderson.
Thank you, Minister.